Hello, it's Jay here again, and welcome to a new video, the first of the new year. So I hope you all had a really good holiday. But we're going to begin with this first lesson actually improving something we've already done. Now, in the last video we worked on the options menu and being able to select the button via the gamepad. Now, there was a problem. I did say at the time that probably some of you may have trouble seeing that because the effect was very subtle to which one was highlighted. So we're going to improve that by introducing a GUI skin. And we're going to do it in a slightly different way. Normally when you create a GUI skin, in fact, let's create that now. We'll need to create one, so let's create that now. So we'll say options, menu, skin. Now, normally you would just drag and drop on to these slots in the inspector. Now, that's fine, but in this case we're going to load up everything that's applicable via code. So this just it's a more professional way of doing it, so it saves any oversights when you're building the game if something hasn't been assigned. So as you can see, I'm in the GUI folder. That's where I've created the skin, because obviously we're going to, in the resources folder, because that's where we're going to load it up from. Now, I've gone ahead and created some new textures, one for the button and one for the hover. I am going to redo all the GUI for the game. Once I've got more completed, I will put that on Patreon for all the people who donate can actually download the GUI. I am going to be using a different font, which is Robtronica. Now, this font is free for both private and commercial use. It's fine. The only thing is you're not allowed to redistribute it as is. It's got to be inside the project, so I can't provide the links to the font, but you can Google it, you can find the font yourself. As I said, completely free for public, private, commercial use, all absolutely fine. You just can't redistribute. So with that said, let's come to the game manager script. Now, we're going to create a variable. You can put this anywhere. I'm just going to put it here. I'm going to say public static int, and we're going to give it a naming convention of underscore options font size. And this is because we're going to have the font scale based on the monitor's resolution. Defines the font size for the options menu. And in the update settings, now remember we call this setting on startup, so in the void await we call it once. We'll define that as options font size is going to equal the screen dot, and I'll use the width divided by 100. Let's use that to begin with, and we'll put this into the comments. Options font size equals the screen width divided by 100, and again the 100 value is just what I'm using for testing. I advise you to experiment to find values that suit your project as always. So now we can come to the options menu script. And we're going to say public, and we want GUI skin. Now really this should be private, but just so you can see it working in the actual inspector. So I've just gained that naming convention of underscore options skin. Let's put that into the comment. And I will put create slot in inspector to assign, I'll just put a skin. Let's just save that off. So if we come to the options manager game object, as you can see there's the slot for the skin. Now we could just drag and drop the skin on to this slot, but I'm going to load it up via code. So I'm going to come at the very top. So why am I choosing it to do it this way? Well, as I said, it is more professional. It means that if anything is any oversights that occur when assigning things before you build your game will automatically be fixed by doing it via code also. But it's also to give you all a chance to see a different way of coding. I always like to show different ways of doing things in these tutorials, which is why sometimes I'll do the same thing in different ways. It's all just to basically increase your knowledge of what you can do within code. So we're going to say in void awake GUI skin, and we'll just use the variable of underscore temp skin. And we're going to say that's equal to, and actually we'll just point to the resources.load folder, open and close brackets, quote mark, and we want the name of the skin. Again, we're going to be using this a lot. Anything in quote marks must match exactly the way it's named in the resources folder. Any slight spelling errors, even when it comes to capitals and lowercase, can cause the whole thing not to work. So just be aware of that, please. And I'm going to come to the end of the line, and I'm just going to put as GUI skin, and we'll close the line off. So we'll enter there just for commenting. Let's put this into the comment. Let's say creates variable of temp skin. Let's put which is equal to the options menu skin. And you can put in the resources folder if you wish. So once we have that in place, we can say if open and close brackets, inside the brackets underscore, and we're going to use options skin. So this variable we created here, and we're going to say exclamation mark and equals, which means does not or is not equal. I'll put this in another set of brackets, underscore temp skin, which is obviously referencing this skin here. Let's put this into the comments, so we'll say if, and I'll just use the naming conventions, paste it in, option skin does not equal, and again we'll use temp skin. Then what we'll do is we'll say option skin is equal to the resources.load. So we're going into that folder again. We'll just copy the same naming convention in options menu skin, and again afterwards as GUI skin. Now we can close the line off. Let's break this up for commenting. I'll actually break it up twice. We'll say then make option skin equal to the options menu skin in the resources folder as a GUI skin. So let's save that off now. So we'll just downsize. We'll come to the options manager. So here we can see non-GUI skin is assigned. Let's hit play. Now, as we can see, the GUI skin has been loaded. If we click on it, it then highlights the options menu skin. So the skin is being loaded, but obviously the skin has no information at the moment. So this is a thing I often come across, is people do not know how to change the variables in the skin via code. So that is what we're going to do in this and the coming lessons. It will take a few, but let's copy this, and I'm copying in all of it, so we'll paste that in and we'll change what needs to be changed. So GUI skin now just becomes font, temp skin just becomes temp font, resources.load, we want the name of the font, as, and of course as a font. So we'll just keep changing things that needs to be changed. So let's paste that in. So create the variable temp font, which is equal to the Robtronica in the resources folder. And we'll come to this block now. So we just need to add dot font in front of option skin does not equal, and now we want temp font. So I'll just add this to the comments and change that to temp font. Then we're going to say again option skin, but we want to add the dot font. Equal to, so this needs to be Robtronica and again as a font. So that will assign a font here, but we need to check the alignment. At the minute it's upper left, that's no good. We want it to be middle center. So what we can do is just say option skin dot button dot alignment is equal to text anchor dot, and I'm going to choose middle center. Close that line off, and we'll just put this into the comments. Set text alignment for buttons to middle center. So we're doing two things. We're loading the font in and we're setting the alignment. So let's save that off, and again we'll see how it works in the GUI skin. So we'll hit play. We need to watch that the font is assigned and the alignment changes here to middle center. So I'll just pause that for a moment. As you can see, the font has loaded in and the alignment has changed to middle center. So it's pretty much the same for the actual buttons and the textures. Let's just copy the font and the if block. We don't need the alignment for the textures, obviously. And I'm just going to change this to texture 2D. So this is going to be the normal, and then we'll do the hover. So temp normal background. And just like everything else, we just need to go through and change what needs to be changed. So resources, I've just called mine button, so we'll change that, and as a texture 2D. So once you've got the basics of how it works in code, it does make things a lot easier. So this is what I mean. So if, and we used option skin dot font, well, what we need to do, if we actually come to the skin, we need to follow the path. So the path is the option skin, we're in button, we're in normal, and then we want the background. So we just follow that path. So option skin dot button dot normal dot background. And then we just put in the temp variable name. I'll actually break this up into 2 lines this time. So to say people, or at least I've heard people have problems with this, once you actually get the basics in place, it actually becomes very easy. It's just a case of tracing the path, which obviously I need to change here as well. And we'll better change out the comments. So font, we'll just put button normal background, and I'll swap out font for those 3 here as well. 2, Again, it's just button, because that's the name of the texture we want. And it's a texture 2D, so we could just say it as a 2D texture. And the next one we're going to do is we're just going to copy all of that again. So this is going to be exactly the same, but we're going to change normal to hover background. And that's it. That's all we need to do. So hover background, button, hover was the name I gave it, sorry, with a capital H. Change normal to hover there, and here as well. Quickly change that in the comments. So we'll just change it out there, does not equal. If it does not equal, then we'll load in the button hover. So let's just save that off and we'll see how this works. So there's my button, there's button hover. Let's come back to the skin. As you can see, the fonts remained and so's the alignment. If we reset, it should load those back in, no problem. So let's do that. Let's hit play. Now, I'll pause it there. The font's loaded, the button texture's loaded, the button hover texture has loaded. The font is aligned middle center, but you can't see it as yet. There's some more code we need, but we'll pick that up in the next video. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope to see you next time. And until then, as always, bye for now.